Namaste and good morning. Thank you all for joining today as we celebrate the International Day of Yoga. Before we proceed further, we would like to let everybody know that this session is being recorded and request everybody to mute their mics. Also, if you have any questions or need more information, then please type in the chat window. The International Day of Yoga has been celebrated annually on June 21st since 2015, following its inception in the United Nations General Assembly in 2014. This is the first time this event is being organized by Hindu Swayamsevak Sangh with the help of city of Rancho Cordova. We have all heard about yoga, but do we know what yoga really is? Yoga is an ancient physical, mental, and spiritual practice that originated in India. The word yoga derives from ancient language Sanskrit and means to join or to unite, symbolizing the union of body and consciousness. Today, it is practiced in various forms around the world and continues to grow in popularity. Recognizing this important role of yoga, this year's commemoration of the International Day of Yoga focuses on yoga for well-being. This event is usually conducted in person, but as we are trying to come out of the COVID restrictions, we are conducting this event virtually this year. All you need is a yoga mat and a bottle of water. Finally, a disclaimer. This yoga session involves physical activities, so feel free to stop if you cannot perform at any point of time. Hindu Swayamsevak Sangh or the city of Rancho Cordova are not liable for any unforeseen incidents from this event. We'll start our event today with warm-up exercise guided by Siddharth Pandey, followed by yoga session with Amit Upadhye, and then we'll practice some breathing and meditation with Ashwini Surpur. Warm-up is recommended before any exercise to prevent injury and make your workout more effective. So today's warm-up is guided by Siddharth. Siddharth Pandey is a freshman at Pleasant Grove High School. He regularly performs yoga at home and at Hindu Swayamsevak centers. Over to you, Siddharth.
Thank you. So first we will start with 3 Omkaras. First we have to sit down and say 3 Omkaras. So, now rub your hands together and give that warmness to your eyes. Now we're going to do Sahana Bhavatu. So first we will stand up and say Sahana Bhavatu. So Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhavatu
Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhita
Aditya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Now we will start the warm-ups. First we're going to start from our lower body, then move to our upper body. So first we're going to do our foot warm-up. So first we're going to rotate our foot. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now the other foot, and we're going to rotate it 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're going to move to our knees and we're going to rotate it in the same fashion. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're going to rotate our hips 5 times again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we will move to our hands. We will rotate them 5 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now the other arm. So we will rotate them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're going to do our elbows. So we will do it like this. So 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's it. And the other elbow. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're going to do our wrist. We're going to rotate them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're going to move to our neck. So we're going to do up and down 5 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're going to do sideways. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Thank you.
Thank you, Siddharth. Next, we have Amit Upadhye guiding us through Ashtanga Yoga and Yogasana. Amit formally started his yoga journey with Vivekananda Kendra in 1988 in India. Later, he continued studying with Sarathi Yoga Foundation, Los Angeles, Nikam Yoga, Singapore, Iyengar Yoga Institute, Los Angeles, and finished his 200 hours of registered yoga teacher training with Vivekananda Yoga, San Diego in 2020. For the past 2.5 years, he has been teaching on Seva International platform. Over to you, Amit.
Namaste. Thank you, Chitra ji, for introducing me. I'm just going to take a few minutes in the beginning just to kind of give an overview of the 2 main branches of yoga. One is the Hatha Yoga, the other one is the Ashtanga Yoga. So Hatha Yoga is basically coming from the Natha Sampradaya. So right from Masendranath to Gorakhnath to Gahinath and so on and so forth. And the word Ha and Tha is a combination of the Chandra Nadi and the Surya Nadi. So the Ha is the heaty part, and the Ida or the Tha is the cooler part of your body. So the left side and the right side, left side is the cooling part, the right side is the heaty part. That's in a nutshell, because we are not going to go much into the depth. But later on, what happened was Patanjali came around and he systematized it all into Ashtanga. We call it the Eightfold Path. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what is this Eightfold Path that everybody talks about. So there are 8 parts to this thing. One is the first is the Yama, which is the don'ts, what not to do. And these 8 parts are not arranged in a linear fashion. So, but they're like the legs of a spider, if you will, so all the legs are equally balanced out so the spider can stay firmly grounded into the system of yoga. So we cannot be like on the 5th path or 5th fold and say, okay, I can get rid of the rest. It doesn't work like that. So the don'ts are the yamas. And what are the yamas is basically saying the ahimsa, satya, asteya, aparigraha, and brahmacharya. So non-violence, truth, non-stealing. Now, non-stealing doesn't mean I not steal somebody's object, but even stealing somebody's credit somebody performed something in the office and you take his credit, that's also stealing. All right. So non-stealing, non-accumulation. We accumulate a lot of stuff in the house. We buy. We are addicted to buying all the time. So that is something that we can control and just live minimally so that others can live also on this planet. All right, and then the brahmacharya is basically directly translates into celibacy, but brahmacharya means the charya like a Brahman. Okay, so Brahma, the god, his charya, so what all he did or what all he didn't do, if you follow that, is called the brahmacharya. All right, so then we come to niyama. So what are we doing? If we don't do this, then what are we doing? So he's saying shaucha is the first one, which is cleanliness. I mean, in the COVID-19 pandemic, cleanliness is one of the most important things. So how do you clean the surroundings, but also how do you clean your body? How do you keep this temple in which we reside clean? Okay, the other one is he's saying santosh. Santosh means contentment, being content in life. So whatever we have, if we are not content, we're constantly reaching out for more and more and more. So that's contentment. And then tapa. Tapa is very important, is about, about endurance of pain. So whether it is a psychological pain or physical pain, because in yoga, of course, we go through all this exercise, there is physical pain. And if you do not make any complaint and you sustain it and you endure it without complaining, then it becomes the tapa. All right. So it could be psychological as well. If somebody doesn't behave the way you want to, we get psychologically all very upset. But if we just stay in the equanimity of the mind, then that tapa becomes a guiding force in the path of yoga. And then the pranayam. The pranayam is nothing but, see, when we breathe, the prana is generated, life force is generated. The prana ayam is a dimension. So the prana takes you into different dimensions when you control it in a certain way. So that becomes the pranayama. Those are breathing techniques. We practice that every day. Every Sunday I teach that. So if you want to join sometime later. And then pratyahara is, how a tortoise, if you touch a tortoise, he will pull all his limbs inside and goes into his shell. Similarly, if you go to a temple, you will see a tortoise. That's because the tortoise is taking all the senses. So we have 5 senses that are gathering information. All those senses, when you withdraw and you implode them inward, okay, so they're not gathering information from outside, but they are introverted. That is the pratyahara. And then the dharana. Now we are getting into inaction part. Up until now, we were into action. So yama, niyama, asana, pranayam, and pratyahara is all about we have to do something about it. Once we get into the inaction part, which is dharana, that means you just sit there and you do a one-pointed focus, one-pointed concentration, either here or at the tip of your nose or here. There are different techniques. Or you do tratak, bindu tratak or surya tratak or jyoti tratak. All these are dharanas, all right? So that dharana is about concentrating your mind into one pointed concentration. Then that leads you to the dhyana. And that dhyana is meditation. So you're then into attention and you're not into concentration anymore. That means from 360 degrees, your attention is spread out. And at any moment, anything that happens around, you're fully aware of that, but we are not focusing on that particular object. We are just taking note of it. That means it could be a distant sound. It could be a sound here. It could be itching sensation here, anything. All of that is included in the meditation. And then finally, it leads you to bliss. And that bliss is something beyond. It's a complete grace. If it happens, you're lucky. If it doesn't happen, do not despair. With that, I think I'm going to move on to the Surya Namaskar and the protocol that so I'm going to teach you something about Surya Namaskar today. But I do want to talk about a little bit about what is Surya Namaskar, why Surya Namaskar. The Indus Valley civilization where yoga was developed is a sun worshipping culture. And the tradition has always been about worshiping the sun. And it's a powerful symbol of consciousness in that culture. okay? And then there are rhythms in life. There are, there is day and night, the earth is moving around, the sun is moving around the center of the galaxy, and so on and so forth. These galaxies are moving around somewhere else. So those rhythms are also in our body. They say that it's whatever is Pindi is Brahmandi. So whatever is happening here is happening in the outer space. So that is something we have to understand through Surya Namaskar. There are sunspots that affect even the stock market, as we know. So there are biorhythms. And then the Upanishads talk about the Surya Namaskar as well. The Surya Upanishad, the Akshaya Upanishad, Brihadaranya Upanishad talks about Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. That mantra is part of the Brihadaranya. And then there are 17 temples in India that are just worshipping suns, and so on and so forth. So what do we have to do here in terms of, and so we need to know if you have any conditions in your body, such as, contraindications, you don't want to do any of these exercises. So what is that? High blood pressure, coronary disease, stroke, hernia, intestinal problems or spinal problems or slip disc or sciatica. Just listen to your body, guys. Don't push yourself. Women can do this also during the periods, but during the high days, don't do it. All right. And then there are psychological, physiological, and spiritual benefits of Surya Namaskar and yoga. All right. So I can go on and on this, but I don't know if I can cover everything today. But one thing I want to tell you, very important, you need to introduce kids before their puberty happens. And I'll tell you why, because it says Surya Namaskar, Nadi Shodhan, Shambhavi Mudra, Gayatri Mantra slows down the degeneration of the pineal gland. The pineal gland, which is situated here, that is one of the most important spiritual centers in your frontal cortex, okay? And that degenerates after the age of 8. And Surya Namaskar and all these exercises, they allow and help in regeneration and keeping the pineal gland active so that the psychic and spiritual development can happen later. Okay, with that, I think we should start. And I will weave all the asanas in the Surya Namaskar. So we should start that ASAP. All right, here we go. So I'm going to start my timer so that we don't miss out on stuff. Okay, here we go. All right, so let's stand at the front of the mat. I hope you all can see my mat. I'm just going to turn it down a little bit. There you go. All right, so let's stand about 8 inches away from the front edge of the mat and come to Samasthiti. Join your palms, rest your chin on the index finger. Om Hiranmayena Patrena Satyasya Pihitam Mukham Tattvam Pushan Apavrunu Satya Dharmaya Drishtaye Om Ram Mitraya Namaha. So take your palms down to the navel like this. Keep your heels of the palms still connected. And then go out. And then breathe in. So breathing is very important to synchronize with Surya Namaskar. So breathe in, and we're going to learn 2 different kinds of Surya Namaskar today. So push, when you're here, connect your biceps to the earlobes and push your hips forward. And naturally, your head is going to fall down in the back position, and then look at your own thumbs. And then inhale and exhale as you bend forward. Keep bending forward, push your tailbone out in that direction. So from here, you're going to push it out like this so that your back is going to be straight. And then exhale as you're bending forward. Exhale, exhale, exhale. Synchronize the exhalation. Be one with your breath, all right? So when you're here, let the gravity take over. And then you're going to put both of your palms down if you can. If not, you can touch your fingers, but do not bend your knees. All right, so here we go. And when you put your hand down, your big toes and your middle finger should be in one line. And then at this position, look at your own knees. You completely exhaled at this point in time. And then you take your left foot back. Get a nice lunge here. And once you get your left foot back, put your knee down on the left side, on the hind leg, and then come to this position called Ashwini Asana. Okay, so now here, mind you that my shin is perpendicular to the mat, my hands are grounded, and I'm pushing my hip in and I'm looking upward. Ashwini. And breathe normally and look straight ahead. Do not try to focus on anything, just look. And in that looking, you go inward into yourself because you're not focusing outwards. It's a kind of a pratyahara that we're doing here. And then take your right foot back and come to Dandasana, Dvipada Prasaranasana. And here you can look between your both the hands or you can look straight ahead. If you're looking straight ahead, focus your eyes between the eyebrows in the Shambhavi Mudra. And then at this point, I'm going to put my knees down and I'm going to exhale as I fold. So keep your hands where they are. And you fold, 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 and then tuck your head in and put your forehead down. And then breathe in and come up. And then put your chest and chin down here. Put your chin down first, then your chest. Sashtanga Namaskar. So we are at the lowest point of the Surya Namaskar right now. And this is where we hug this earth and we do pray our gratitude towards everything through this Sashtanga Namaskar, and then breathe in and come up and come to Sarpasana. Now make sure your knees are not touching the mat. Your shoulders are not collapsed like this. They are up and the knees are not touching and you're looking up. Sarpasana. Breathe out completely. And then inhale and come up and come to Adho Mukha Svanasana. And this is the downward facing dog, as they call it in the West. And push with your hands so that your heels are touching the ground. Put both of your toes together and your knees up without any fold. And you're going to push, push, and push. And the goal is to touch your forehead to the ground. If you can do that, you're more than welcome to do that. If not, fold your knees and put them down again. This is the 12-step Surya Namaskar that we're doing. And in the next one, we will do something different. Okay, then come to the resting position again. It's called the Shashankasana. And put your forehead down. And then breathe in and come up. And without lifting these hands, you're going to put your left leg in between the two hands. So now the left leg is coming up. And then the shin is perpendicular, the hands are parallel. And then you push with your hips, push it in, and you look up into Ashwa Sanchalan. Ashwa is horse. And horse is the mind, the chitta vritti nirodha that Patanjali talks about. That chitta is like a wild horse, is your subconscious mind. And then you put your right foot up and exhale fully, join your palms, and you come up and push your hips again, and then exhale as you go down and come to Samasthiti again. The next Surya Namaskar we're going to do is about eliminating 2 steps. So we'll do a 10-step Surya Namaskar this time. All right, so you'll learn both of them today. All right, put your chin on the index finger. Om Reem Ravaye Namaha. Slide your palms down to the navel and put your hand out and push your hips forward and come up and start exhaling and bending forward bending forward. Make sure you do not round off your back. The back should be straight. So you come to Samakonasana, 90-degree pose. And then from here, the gravity is going to take over. Your body is going to slowly, slowly succumb to the gravity. And then you come to Padhastasana. And then you look at your own knees. Then it becomes Janu Shirasana. And then this time you're going to take the right foot back and come to Ashwasanchalanasana. Ashwasanchalan is about the taming of that wild horse. And you look straight ahead. Do not try to label anything. Do not try to process anything in the mind. And it's like an open focus look. Just look with no intent in the mind. And then you're going to take the left foot back and come to Dvipada Prasaranasana. And you look straight ahead, you look between the two hands. And here's where we're going to skip it. So now we're going to skip the fifth position, and I'm going to straight go down, slowly, you go down, 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 and put your chin down first, then your chest, and then your knees. And then you come up to Sarpasana, Adho Mukha Svanasana, exhale fully, try to touch your heels to the ground. And then from here, I'm going to take my right foot straight up and put my knee down, come to Ashwasanchalan again on the right side, and then stand up and put your right foot, left foot back to where it was, and then join your palms and exhale. All right, so we did 2 Surya Namaskar so far. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce the other asanas in the Surya Namaskar itself. All right, so here we go. Om Rum Suryaya Namaha. And you go down, and it's all the same so far. And bend backward. And then here, I'm going to get into a position called Ardhakati Chakrasana. So I'm going to turn my hand, body this way so that you guys can see. I'm going to move back a little bit. And then I'm going to put my legs out a little bit, about hip width apart. And then raise my right hand up, connect to your ear to the biceps. And then I'm going to push my hips in that direction. Okay, so it's called Ardhakati Chakrasana. So you bend, let this hand go down and push your hips in that direction so that your body is going in that direction. And then straighten your arm, stretch your fingers, and then slightly look up. Look up in that direction. Ardhakati Chakrasana. And exhale and come back. And we'll do the left side. Raise the left hand up and push my hips in that direction. So you're laterally moving in this way. And look up. Don't hold your breath. Breathe normally here. Straighten your arm and stretch your fingers outward. And come down again. Okay. And then we're going to do another Ardhakati Chakrasana version by bending forward. So put your hands on the hips like this. Make sure your thumbs are connected at the back. And I'm going to push my hips forward like this. And bend backward. And come up. Okay, back onto the mat. We will go down and come to Padhastasana. And then take your left foot back and come to Ashwasanchalanasana. And from here, I'm going to raise my left knee, and then I'm going to come to Virabhadrasana. Okay, from here, I'm going to push, and I'm going to go into, now here's the tricky part. When my body is facing this way, my hands are here, I'm going to I'm going to turn. So my foot is pointing in that direction. This foot is a little inward. And then I'm going to take and move this way. So I'm pushing, as though I'm reaching out to something. And then I'm going to go down. I'm going to go down, down, see how far you can go. And then keep your chest open, okay? And then grab the shin or your ankle. And then with this hand, go up and look straight up, Trikonasana. And come up. And of course, we have to do the other side. So from here, I'm going to put my left foot out in that direction, right foot in this direction, hands apart. And I'm going to move, I'm going to stretch as though somebody's pulling you in that direction. Keep pulling, and then go down and look up. This is a triangle pose, Trikonasana. There are 3 90-degree poses in here. That's why it's called Trikonasana. And you come up. And then from here, we come back to Ashwasanchalan. And then I'm going to go into Dvipada Prasaranasana. And then I'm going to put my right hand here and I'm going to twist myself and go to Vashishthasana. Look up and come down. And then back to here. Now I'm going to go and put my knees down, the 5th position that we did on Surya Namaskar, and then pull yourself this way and come to Vajrasana. So Vajrasana is nothing but I'm sitting on my heels, all right? So I'm going to sit on my heels like this, and I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back and then rest my elbows. And this is Supta Vajrasana. You can completely lie on your back if you can. If not, it's okay to hold it here. You get enough benefits by doing that. And then you come up again, and then you spread your feet apart. Spread your feet apart. We get into Virasana. And you sit in between. And then you go down. Supta Virasana. You can completely lie on the ground flat. But again, mind you, if you have any low back issues or any problems, please don't do this. Now I'm going to stand on my knees and we're going to go into Ardha Ustrasana and Ustrasana. So there are 2 ways to do this. One is, okay, you can curl your toes this way or you can put them like this. I prefer to curl them because it's a little easier for most people to do it this way. And put your hands like the Ardha Kati Chakrasana. We're going to push the hips forward. And look up. Ardha Ustrasana. Very nice. Now, another step forward. What are we going to do now? I'm going to take my right hand up and my left hand, I'm going to put it on the heel, here, on the left foot, and push your hip forward. Another version of Ardha Ustrasana. And you come up, and then you put your right hand here, left hand up, and push Ardha Ustrasana. Now what happens if I do this? I grab both the knees, and then I push my hip forward. You get into Ustrasana. And let your head hang. And to come down, you can either sit like this and come out of it. So that's easier to do. All right. Now, we're done with Ustrasana. We're going to come to Adho Mukha Svanasana again. All right. I'm going to put my knees down and I'm going to go into Ashtanga Namaskar. Okay. So we're going to do some prone positions. Ashtanga Namaskar right here. Sa Ashta Anga Namaskara. So there are 8 parts of my body touching the ground right now. So I'm going to go completely on my belly down. And I'm going to put my hands on the side, my chin on the ground, uncurl the toes, and then lift one leg up, Ardha Shalabhasan, Ek Pada Shalabhasan. And see how far you can take that leg up. Whatever you can do, don't push yourself too much, because the backward bending exercises will raise the blood pressure. So be careful with that. All right, and then you take the right foot up and come down. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put both my hands at the groin. You can face them down on the mat, or you can face them towards the groin. And then I'm going to put both the legs up. Purna Shalabhasan, Shalabhasan, the locust pose. Okay. And then I come down, and then I put my hands by the side, by my rib cage, so that the tip of my bigger finger is in line with my shoulder, and uncurl your toes at the back. And I'm going to push. So here's a subtle thing you can learn here is before you start pushing with your hands, see if you can just peel off the mat. So if you can just hold your hands here and just peel. Once you stop that, put your hands down and then push and come to Bhujangasana. Bhujangasana is the excited cobra pose. Bhujanga. And then look up. Okay. Having done that, we're going to now fold the knees and then grab the ankle. Grab both the ankles. Now make sure that your knees are together and not out like this. They're together. And then you start kicking your feet out. Start kicking your feet out so your front part of the body get a nice monkey grip on your ankle. And look up. Dhanurasana. All right. Now, I'm going to relax a little bit. So put both your arms like this. One arm here, the other arm here. Put your chin where the things are crossing, and both the legs outside like this. Called the Makarasana. This is how you rest in the prone positions. And let your heart rate come down a little bit. So the traditional yoga is practiced not as a flow, but one posture at a time. What that means is you have to let your heart rate and your breath rate needs to come down before you go into the next posture. That is the traditional Hatha Yoga practice. But these days you will find all kinds of flow and vinyasa and all that. It could be damaging. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out later. Okay, so
Mitji, you have
yes.
1 minute. You have 1
1
minute.
minute. Okay. All right. We're done. All right. So then we come to supine. From here, I'm going to raise both my legs up. And it's called the Ardha Halasana. And I'm going to fold my legs and get one out there. And then I'm going to grab this and pull towards me. Pull. And then I'm going to let my nose touch. And this is called the Pavan Muktasana. And then raise your leg up again and come down. Raise the other leg, fold it, grab it, and see if you can touch your nose. And you want to hold all these poses at least for a minute to get the maximum benefit. And then you come down. And then you come up. Now you can raise both the legs, hold it, grab it, and see if you can do Purna Pavan Muktasana. Tuck your nose between the knees and lift up and come down. Now, I think you are in a pose to relax. We go to Shavasana from here. That would be great. If not, we will just complete our Surya Namaskar real quick. So my right leg is up. And I'm going to come to Padahastasana, Janu Shirasana. Close my hands. Inhale and come up. And there you go. I think this is all we have today in the shortest time we could. So I really appreciate you all joining me today, and we'll see you soon sometime. Namaste.
Thank you, Amit. Next, we'll be doing some breathing exercises and meditation, which will be guided by Ashwini Surpur. Ashwini Surpur is the Executive Director of Yoga Bharati and is a senior yoga therapist. She has worked at Oracle as a software engineer for 15 years and quit her job in 2010 to join Yoga Bharati as a full-time volunteer staff. She provides yoga therapy to the clients with various disorders. She has spoken at various conferences on yoga and Hindu philosophy. She writes articles for various magazines and news media on yoga. She is passionate about literature and philosophy and has a master's in Sanskrit. And about Yoga Bharati is a non-profit organization with an aim of spreading holistic yoga that is both authentic and evidence-based. They conduct yoga teacher training, yoga therapy training, and classes for kids, among other activities. Over to you, Ashwini.
Thank you. Namaste. So we'll be now moving on to pranayama, and Amit ji has explained about pranayama and the Ashtanga yoga very well. So nothing much from my side to add. Thank you, Amit ji. And we'll now move on to the actual practice of pranayama, that is controlling the prana through breath. So first we'll practice sectional breathing. Very simple practice. You can place your hands on your belly and practice belly breathing. Just simply observing the abdomen going up and out and in, and then the chest level breathing, placing the hands on your chest and just allowing only the chest to expand forward and backward. The abdomen stays where it is, the shoulders stay where they are. And the third one, we could do this, that is taking the hands up or simply by the side and allowing the shoulders to go up and down. You are not raising the shoulders, the shoulder muscles, the clavicle muscles, lift them up and down. You are using the upper lobes of the lungs. Here you are using the lower lobes of the lungs. But most important part that I'm going to add today is Kevala Kumbhaka. When you are doing sectional breathing, and the last one, of course, let me tell you that last one will be combining all three: abdomen, chest, and the shoulders all expand as you inhale fully, and as you exhale completely, all three of them collapse down. Which order, not to worry. While going up, you know very well, abdomen, chest, and shoulders. While coming down, allow them to recoil in whichever order they recoil. No need to analyze that. So now coming to the most important part of sectional breathing, that is the observing the suspension of breath that happens after every exhalation before the next inhalation. So because you are now only using the abdomen, so not the chest, not the shoulders, it's going to be a little shallow. And we like that shallow breath. Why? Because for the most part, we are busy breathing. Here, we breathe less, which means we also think less. When we give less oxygen to the mind, less thoughts will come. That is the whole premise of holding the breath, for example, that our sages were following. So we are just going to practice that. And then we'll move on to one couple of Nadi Shuddhi Pranayama. That is a very vast subject, so we are not going to cover that. Just as a ritual, we'll do it. This one, we'll learn how to breathe. Okay, and then we'll practice a couple of Brahmaris. Okay, all right, so we have 10 minutes. So let's go ahead. Sit comfortably, back straight. You can take the support, but most importantly, you should be able to forget your body and not be in pain. Okay, all right, sit comfortably. You can place your one hand on the abdomen, or you can also sit with your hands down if you are already aware of this practice. Now, as you inhale, the abdomen bulges out, and as you exhale, it collapses down. And after every breath, allow that little silence, even if it is for a couple of seconds, a little rest to the lungs. And you are anchored in that cessation of breath. Inhalation and exhalation are two wings, and you are in between. So that state of transcendence of breath between exhalation and inhalation is where you are now moving to higher states of consciousness. So allow that silence after exhalation. Continue, inhale, abdomen bulges out, exhale, release. Take a breath when you need one. Otherwise, you are mostly in silence. You eat when you are hungry. Otherwise, you are not eating. Same thing, you breathe when you need one. And otherwise, you are silent. And gently bring your hand down. We'll now place the hand on our chest, and let's breathe chest level breathing. Inhale, the chest expands. Exhale, release, relax. And go into that little effortless stoppage of breath. You don't hold the breath, it just happens to you. Take a breath when you need one. Chest alone moves. And gently bring your hand down after the last one. And now taking your hands on your shoulders, or even without that, simply as you inhale, observe the shoulder blades lifting up, the clavicles lifting up. It's the breath that lifts your shoulders. And after exhalation, again observe the cessation of breath, effortless stoppage of breath. And bring your hands down if you have them on your shoulders, and observe. And now we can practice full yogic breathing. There are mudras. We don't want to do it today. We just want to place the hands on your place your hands on your thighs. Inhale, the abdomen, chest, and your shoulders all expand. And exhale, allow them to go down. And again, see if there is a little Kevala Kumbhaka suspension of breath before the next. Long, deep inhalation, long and deep recoil and exhalation. You are anchoring at that exhaled state, even if it is tiny duration. And gently, after the last breath, simply practice Sahaja Pranayama, natural breathing. And your regular practice of this sectional breathing will make your yogic breathing as your natural breathing. And gently open your eyes. We'll now move on to just the ritual of Nadi Shuddhi Pranayama, but this is one can practice 5-10 minutes. That's when the effect is profound. So make a fist of your hand, open the thumb and the last two fingers, and now use this as a clamp to close the right nostril and left nostril with the ring finger and thumb. Okay, now here, close the right, exhale and inhale from the left, and close the left, exhale and inhale through the right. Exhalation is slightly longer than inhalation. You can practice 4:6 ratio. Inhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Close, exhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5, Om 6. Again, same nostril, inhale, Om 1, Om 2, like that. One's right and one's left makes one round. You may practice up to 27 rounds of this at your home. With the last breath, gently bring your hands down. Close your eyes and observe. With regular practice, both of your nostrils are always open, and your Ida and Pingala Nadi, the right and the left, the Ha and Ta of the Hatha Yoga, you will be in balance of the Ha and Ta. You are also in harmony with the circadian rhythm, sleep, hunger, all of them. And now moving on to Brahmari, we'll close Shambhavi Mudra, a modified Shambhavi Mudra. The first three fingers, you lightly close the lid of your eyes, and the one finger is on the top, one on the bottom, and middle one gently on the eye. And the thumb, lightly you can place thumb into the ear, or you can place the thumb outside and close with the flap, whichever works for you. And whichever is most non-jarring for you. Don't plug the ears with your thumb. And with that, just observe, tongue touching the upper palate. You will be making the sound from the back of the throat. You take the sound from the back of the throat and make a strong vibration reaching all of the head region. So it's very hard to Zoom optimizes it. So you go ahead. 5 rounds. Inhale and begin. Gently stop the practice. Bring the hands down and observe the silence. let's go into meditative silence with the practice of Brahmari. Every sound gets amplified because your mind goes into silence. So the sound is, you hear pin drops also, the sound of pin dropped, hence it's called pin drop silence. So let's practice that.
Ashwini ji, you have 1 minute.
In this beautiful silence, let us add a resolve, a sankalpa, an intention for the health, happiness, and peace of oneself and of the universe, of Pindanda, microcosm, and of Brahmanda, the macrocosm. Joining your hands at the heart center, listening to this mantra of peace. Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, may all be happy, may all be healthy, may all see things positive and auspicious. And let there be no misery in this world. Peace, peace, peace. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukha bhag bhavet. Om shanti shanti shanti. Gently rub your palms. Cup your eyes, massaging your face and the neck. With hands in front of you, blinking, open your eyes and look at your palms. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, Ashwini. Due to unexpected events, City of Rancho Cordova, our host for today's event, representative is not here. So we will move on to our message from Hindu Swayam Sevak Sangh by Lekha Itagi. Over to you, Lekha.
Namaste. This is Lekha. I'm talking from Rancho Cordova HSS chapter. Hindu Swayamsevak Sangha HSS, a voluntary non-profit social, educational, cultural and 501c3 organization. Through our regular programs, we instill and promote discipline, self-confidence, teamwork, and the spirit of selfless service in our members. All of our programs are free and open to all. We contribute to the welfare of the world by participating or conducting local community outreach service activities. Through service activities and outreach projects, we foster a sense of civic duty, responsibility, and volunteerism. In January, we organized Health for Humanity Yogathon, Surya Namaskar, the Sun Salutation. Sun salutation workshops are conducted in several places across the nation to emphasize the benefits of yoga in achieving a healthy body and mind. Thank you, City of Rancho Cordova, for recognizing the Health for Humanity event with proclamation letter. During Diwali festival in 2020, HSS collaborated with other organizations and donated canned food and daily essential items to 8 food banks across Sacramento region. A total of 2,600 plus pounds of food was collected in 10 cities by 26 organizations, including Rancho Cordova Food Locker. With our partner organizations, we conduct Stop Diabetic Movement, a yoga-based program to manage diabetes effectively. We would love to offer this program to the people of Rancho Cordova if city permits. Also, we would be more than happy to host more yoga programs free of cost for the people of Rancho Cordova, which will promote healthier lifestyle, reduce stress, and most importantly, enhances peace of mind. In the earlier days of COVID in 2020, HSS distributed masks, the N95 and reusable, to first responders across the country. Alongside volunteering at the city-run vaccination events, now we are working with federal agencies and several cities in organizing and conducting vaccination drives and blood collection drives. Feel free to reach out to us at hss.sacramento@gmail.com or our website www.hssus.org. Dhanyawad. Thank you.
Thank you, Lekha. Again, I would like to remind everybody, if you have any questions or need more information regarding the programs mentioned by Lekha, please type them in the chat. And we'll conclude our today's event by with vote of thanks by Dilip Nayak. Over to you, Dilip.
First, I would like to thank Siddharth Pandey, Amit Upadhye, and Ashwini Surpur for guiding us through warm-up, yoga, and meditation. It was very soothing and inspiring too. I would like to thank City of Rancho Cordova for helping us organize this event. I would like to thank Hindu Swayam Sevak Sangh and their volunteers for bringing this event together. I would like to thank all of you for joining and participating in this yoga session and making this a success. We hope that this session has been useful to you, and we plan to bring many more events in the future. Stay cool and stay safe. Dhanyawad and thank you.
So thank you all for joining today and making this event a very success. Thank you.
Thank you.